वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. In this beautiful chapter 6, named Dhyana Yoga, we have arrived at those shlokas which on one hand advise us how to meditate and on the other inspire us by describing the bliss of meditation. That is how in the previous verses that we saw, namely 22 and 23, Sri Krishna called the happiness of deep meditation as unsurpassed. There is no other labha. Labha means gain. There is no other labha higher than what we receive in the meditation. Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tataha yasmin stito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. On one hand, we understand how there is happiness within us. On the other, even grave calamities cannot disturb us when we anchor ourselves more and more in the pure self. The 23rd also said, really, yoga, which is translated as union, now is not so much union, it is actually getting rid of a false identification. So yoga really is viyoga. Viyoga from what? In our spiritual ignorance, we have embraced the false. No wonder the famous Brihadaranyaka mantra says, Asatoma Sadgamaya. Our life is nothing but a tight hug with falsehood, false values, false priorities, false friendships, false associations, false habits. Lot of false stuff has entered into our life, and as we grow in spiritual intelligence, we just let go of those false ways, false expectations, for example. We go on expecting everybody to be good to us without questioning, are we good to them? We expect something from A, something from B. There was a famous cinema actor, Rajesh Khanna. He is now no more, as all of you know. Before he married, so many young women in our country were mad after him. And there were some girls who wrote to him letters of love with their own blood. And when he finally married some other girl, these girls were devastated. And the newspapers those days reported that one girl from Bangalore wrote to Rajesh Khanna, do you know I wrote letters to you expressing my love with blood taken from my finger. I used a blade, took out blood, and with that I wrote. I didn't expect you to ditch me, let me down. How did Rajesh Khanna ask her, please write to me letters with blood? Very crazy. Human life is so crazy. You know, that girl wrote love letters with blood, and then she says, I wrote with blood, so he should marry me now. Why did he marry anybody else? So think about it. A girl of that kind is in every one of us. Every one of us has some unreasonable expectations from spouse or children or neighbors or teachers or all relationships. That is how there takes place dukkha sanyoga. And I can imagine that girl in Bangalore must have, got so agitated. Maybe she told all her friends, the only man I loved was this cinema actor in Mumbai, Rajesh Khanna, to whom I wrote letters with my blood. Now I'm not going to marry anybody at all. Normally these resolutions, these declarations don't last long. Within a few months, if not more, she would have liked somebody else. Anyway, dukkha sanyoga. You hold a hot brick in your hand will burn. Drop that. Let go of the hot brick. What a relaxation. So Sri Krishna gave us a terrific definition. Understand yoga to be viyoga, separation from what was causing unnecessary sorrow. Don't go to the opposite. Imagine that girl in Bangalore began to hate Rajesh Khanna for the rest of her life. I hate him. Why should you hate him? Why did you get attached to him? Let go of both raga and dvesha and celebrate the relationships that have come to you in life. God organizes who your spouse should be, who your children will be, who your friends will be. As Bhagavad Geetā says, yadricha chopapannam, yadrichaya chopapannam. There is the word yadricha. Yadricha means we don't chase it, things come to us. God gives us certain skills, certain talents, certain abilities, and some shortcomings too. It's a package He has given. Make the best of it. Dukkha sanyoga, there is an unfortunate dukkha sanyoga. From that we have to do viyoga. And that is yoga. And one more word significant, that 23rd sloka of chapter 6. This yoga has to be practiced with a mind that does not get depressed for every small thing, small or big. Nirvinna means depressed. Anirvinna chesa. It's all developing right attitudes within us. Leave alone spirituality, leave alone yoga. In simple regular life also, from the time we wake up in the morning, if we want, we can complain about everything. We can get depressed about everything. Long list of reasons are always available to us. To complain, to lose heart, to feel miserable, and to wish for something else. All that. All these Hollywood, Bollywood and those movies provide enough of sad songs for you. Sad songs with lyrics like that. Some man crying, oh, I loved that woman. If she had come to me, how happy I would have been, and so on. All with nice tune and nice music and nice actors and actresses acting. Therefore, in ashrams and spiritual centers, we are discouraged from watching these entertainment movies and so on. Though every movie has something to learn, but it is true that for a little that we learn from all these movies, it has actually a lot of unhealthy influences. It has the movies, because the movies have to make money, and therefore they put what they call a lot of spice. There is violence, there is all kinds of things. Therefore, in this Gita class, I would say openly, though I myself have seen some good movies and I remember those things, I sometimes share in these lectures. But in this webinar, I am making a webinar in this online class. I am making a submission that yes, we have to be extremely careful. Something entertains us, and to draw a line between entertainment and education is very important. So, Sri Krishna says, Anirvinna Chetasa. So don't follow some role model, don't follow some, that's where I raised the example of movie songs. Some heroine crying, weeping, sad song, the hero weeping, crying, and so on. That should never be taken in. Keep away from that crying and weeping. Come what may, keep a positive attitude. Tell yourself again and again, if there is a problem, there has to be a solution. Let me see how I can find the solution. So, this is where we say Bhagavad Gita is indeed a terrific motivational work. Now we go to let's see what Yoga Anirvinna Chetasa. Nirvinna, we already explained. And 24. We see now especially 24 and 25. Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman Tyaktva Sarvan Asheshataha Manasaivendriya Gramam Viniyamya Samantataha Shanai Shanairuparame Buddhyadhritigrahitaya Atmasanstam Manakritva Nakinchidapi Chintaye. So these are now back to practical tips. Whenever we have a desire, desire has such force in it, we do not understand what's happening. Desire says, get that object, you will be happy. We don't question that suggestion given by desire. If Krishna says, wait a minute, go behind that desire. What has caused that desire? The cause of every desire is sankalpa. Sankalpa means shobhana adhyasa in these contexts. Shobhana adhyasa means a certain mischief that our mind plays. It looks at an object and says, how nice it will be if I get that object. Why? That object is so beautiful. If it is food, that is so delicious. If it is music, oh, that will make me so happy. So we invest in objects, persons, places, etc. without much thinking. Sankalpa Bhagavan Kaman. So Sri Krishna gives the causal factor behind Kama. And he says, if you want true peace, don't fall a prey to this kind of mental games. Let go. Tyaktva sarvan asheshataha. In no way is a suggestion made for suppression. It's not suppression. Because spiritual people are criticized sometimes. Oh, what is all this? You are suppressing natural desires. Come on, leave all that. Eat, drink, make merry, and so on. Worldly people make a case for enjoyments of the material world. And they look at the spiritual people, those who are trying to be spiritual, as escapists, those who unnaturally suppress or control their desires. We do agree, many a time our attempt at controlling desires leads to suppression because our knowledge is less. But having gained right knowledge and going step by step, doing satsangs and understanding ourselves properly, we have to move ahead. Manasa eva. So indriyas have to be controlled. Indriya gramam. Grama here doesn't mean a village. Grama in Sanskrit means a samudaya, a coming together. It could be indriyas, it could be 10 pencils, it could be 3 trees, it could be 20 people, anything. So in a certain number are brought together, it is grama. Indriya grama is the coming together of the 10 organs of perception and of action. Jnanendriya, Karmendriya. All of them have a lot of urges. They are the last ones to keep quiet. But we have a mind, we have a buddhi through our viveka, viniyamya, control, samantataha in all directions. And Sri Krishna is so understanding. He knows Arjuna and all of us here cannot change overnight. Shanai Shanai Uparame. Slow and steady wins the race. Swami Chinmayananji therefore coined an interesting expression. Hasten slowly. So if he says go slow, some people say, oh, how can we go slow? There is so much to be done. All right, hasten, speed up. But be careful. If you speed up more than what is optimum, accidents may take place. Therefore, hasten slowly. Avoid extremes. Neither be too slow nor be dangerously speedy. Hasten slowly. Manasa eva indriya gramam was said in the shloka that has to be done shanai shanai. Moderation is the best policy. Buddhya dhriti grihitaya. Develop your dhriti. Develop your fortitude. Dharana shakti. And the second part of 25th shloka is so wonderful. Summarily, all that we need to do is, for heaven's sake, bring the mind to the pure self. Study of Vedanta gives you an understanding. Don't say, I don't know what this pure self is. If you study Vedanta regularly, Vedanta will give you an understanding of what this Atma is, both by Vidhi Vakya and Nisheda Vakya. What it is, Satyam Dhanam Anantam Sat Chit, etc. And what it is not, Neti Neti. Therefore, through both trying to define as far as words can go, and by negating what the self is not, we get great clarity. To say, how can I meditate on the pure self? Pure self, suppose it is known I can meditate. Since I don't know, meditation is an illogical proposition. There are some who argue like that. How can you meditate on God? Have you met God? Have you seen God? All this kutarka. Sri Ramakrishna says, a child may mispronounce the word for mother. Instead of saying Amma, the child may say Amo. Do you think the mother will say, you are mispronouncing my name, I won't care for you? The moment the mother listens or hears, my child is crying, and the child is not pronouncing the word for mother properly, it doesn't matter. His mother comes running. Sri Ramakrishna, in the context of Bhakti Yoga, says, no matter how little you know about God, how imperfect, inaccurate it may be, Shastras themselves eventually may dismiss your present understanding of God. But your present understanding of God is the beginning. Start with whatever you know. Of course, you won't have some crazy, wrong ideas of God. God is somebody who will help me and kill my enemies one by one. These are all destructive ideas. Shastras do not teach that. God is loving. He is compassionate to all of his children. And if there is some so-called enemy of yours who is doing some nasty thing, God will handle it. Trust him. But do not pray for this person to be killed or that person's house to be burnt. That will bring bad karma to you. Kayena vacha manasa, avoid harmful thoughts. So, in the Jnana Yoga, here it is said, Atma samstam manantutva. Fix the mind in the pure self. Constantly negate. Sri Ramana Maharshi said, dismiss all ideas that you have about yourself. Then the truth remains. Because all the ideas that drive us are because of false identification with the body and mind. It is memories. It is the mischief of mind. Therefore, I am bad, I am good, I am talented, I am dull. All of them. Powerful spiritual practice. Who am I? And Maharshi admits that if somebody with no proper guidance does who am I, it may not lead him anywhere. So some Vedanta study, some exposure to certain good pointers to who you are not. So equipped with proper Vedanta study, when you do the who am I inquiry, it's a very powerful tool. Unfortunately, everything is not for everybody. There are many Vedanta students who somehow haven't got a proper grasp of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's who am I inquiry. They even mock at who am I inquiry. They even say, what is this who am I inquiry? It will lead you nowhere and so on. The least they can do is not to find fault with a great enlightened sage like Sri Ramana, who constantly advise to ask themselves, who am I? They don't know, they have not studied properly. They are so overly conditioned by a certain system of Vedanta that anything else anybody says comes across. No, this is not Shastra. So the Shastra Vasana can sometimes be too much. In the process, unfortunately, they make very casual and light comments on Maharshi Ramana or Paramahamsa Sri Ramakrishna and so on. That is unfortunate. As I said, they should keep their mouth shut about Ramana Maharshi, about Sri Ramakrishna and so on. If they are inspired by a certain outlook towards Shastras, let them explain it. Just as we would say to Dvaita students, if Hari Bhakti or Shiva Bhakti or some other Bhakti inspires you, you find that is so wonderful. All right, you practice it, share it with others also. But for heaven's sake, don't make some comments on Advaita, some irresponsible comments that these Advaitis go around saying, I am God. No Advaitin says, I am God, the way you are describing. No Advaitin goes to a temple of Ganapati, for example, and says to Ganapati, Ganapati, Lord, I have come. You know, I am also same as you. Nobody. Even a very, very erudite scholar of Advaita Vedanta, take him to a Ganapati temple. He bows down before Ganapati and says, Supreme Brahman appears as you are an expression of it, and please bless me, and so on. So sometimes you and I get excited about one outlook, and that's okay, but then make irresponsible comments on other approaches. So Maharshi Ramana said, Atma Samstam Manatritva, he would explain it, that means all anatma. I am a body, I am a middle-aged person, I am a lady with 2 children. Like this, countless ideas are in our mind. Maharshi says, let them go, drop them. And there is a wonderful wisdom associated. It is all properly explained, properly elaborated. There is a whole science about it. Therefore, Sri Krishna's words, Atma Samstam Manatritva. So let's see Shankara's commentary on this. Sankalpa Prabhavan is a Bahugrihi Samasa. Desires which have Sankalpa as their source, as their background, as their cause. Sankalpaha Prabhavaha Yesham Kamanam Te Sankalpa Prabhavaha Kama. And then Tyaktva Parityajya Asheshataha. Sri Krishna himself says, Asheshata. Don't spare them. Maharshi Ramana says, giving an analogy, the king discovers that, alas, during his absence, he had gone on some tour, so many enemies had entered his fort, his palace, and they are inside. So he gathers his own army and he comes and tries to make all those enemies who are inside his palace, make them run. So Maharshi Ramana gives that example. Until the last enemy also is chased away, do not stop. Asheshata, don't say, let some of them remain, what so what. You can imagine how dangerous it could be. Shankaracharya says, Asheshata means nirlepena, not even a trace should remain. Kincha manasa eva vivekayuktena. Though the word manas is used, it refers to buddhi here, because viveka, vairagya, all of them are in the buddhi. Vivekayuktena manasa. Then why is the word manas used? You see, the word manas at places represents the whole antakara. Manas can mean the entire faculty of thinking, feeling, and so on. So here, in the particular context, it is doing the job of buddhi. Viveka yuktena indriya gramam, indriya samudayam, viniyamya, niyamanam kritva, samantataha, samanta, from all directions. Generally, we tend to be good in one area but poor in another area. There are some people who have good shama, but very poor dhamma. That is, they somehow keep calm, but they don't control sense organs well. Of course, eventually it will cause agitations to them, but from a narrow window of observation, they keep calm. Even when they, let's say, eat something which they should not eat, they eat calmly. Somebody says, you are a diabetic and you took 2 gulab jamun. They are very, very calm. They say, yeah, I will be careful. Say, I used to took 2. They are very calm. They have some kind of shanti in them. But they did not exercise Dhamma, Indriya Nigra. And the world is full of people who exercise outer control, but their mind is so agitated. I often meet people who are fairly disciplined, that they get up early, they don't take tea or coffee, no way you can force them to take tea or coffee. And they have, outwardly, they have apparently a lot of discipline. But I don't find them at peace. They're agitated maybe on some other matters, that they are not respected, that somebody is not listening to them. That agitates them. So there is what is called partial growth, lopsided growth. Only in some areas we develop. Sri Krishna says, Samanta, be watchful. Wherever you are weak, pay extra attention and strengthen yourself there. Samantataha, Acharya Shankara gives a synonym, Samantat. Shanai Shanaihi, which means na sahasa. Do not hurry. Do not be in a haste. Go slow, which doesn't mean we become lazy in no way, but find the optimum speed. Uparame, uparatim kurya. Kaya, by what? With what? Buddhya. Buddhya uparame. Using your understanding. Buddhi is the seat of understanding. What kind of understanding? Dhriti grihitaya. Kim vishishtaya? Dhriti grihitaya. Dhritya dhairyena grihitaya. With thoughts of courage, patience, what we described before, a certain positive attitude. If there are problems, there should be solutions. Let me find out in this way. Or with a touch of bhakti, don't tell God how big your problems are. Tell problems how big your God is. So remember, when I have God with me, I am a devotee of Rama, and when Rama is with me, nothing can happen. So that is the way one may develop dhriti. Tulsidas wrote some bhajan in his Vinay Patrika. Vinay Patrika is a collection of more than 200 compositions by Tulsidas. One of them is Sri Ramachandra Kripalu. That's most well known. So one of them is, says, Jab Janaki Nath Sahaya Kare. That's how it begins. When Janaki Nath, Sri Ram, is with me, is my companion, Sahaya, then who can do anything to me? And in that Kriti, in that composition, all the 9 planets are mentioned. Navagraha, because many a time you and I say, this is my grahachara, my grahagati. The planets are not in a favorable condition. Therefore, I am suffering. That bhajan says, if Sri Ram is with us, none of the 9 planets can do anything to us at all. So, find out your own way. Maybe some mantra from Upanishad, some sloka from Prakarana Granthas, something that some great sage said. There are rishis, munis, even in our times there are great saints, or in recent times in Karnataka there was a great saint. Probably he lived till about mid-60s or so, mid-1960s. Sridhara Swami. This ashram is near Sagar. Very austere. He did a lot of tapas. He considered Samartha Ramdas as his guru. And he did a lot of austerities in Maharashtra, near Satara. Near Satara in Maharashtra, there is Ram. First of all, Samartha Ramdas Padukas are there. Next to it, there is a place where it is Sridhara Swami did tapasya. I think he knew both Marathi and Kannada. Later, all his work took place in Karnataka. He somehow settled near Sagar and, of course, performed miracles. He was extremely simple and highly self-controlled. So, Kannadigas, as an example, have access to a lot of his teachings. He wrote, he composed so many Sanskrit hymns. He was a bit orthodox, bit traditional, which is fine. You know, saints, some of them are orthodox, some of them liberal, some of them maybe, you know, more into Sanskrit, some are more into regional languages. That's okay. You go by the guidance of some saint whose teachings make a lot of sense to you. You are inspired. Then your dhriti will increase. Your fortitude, your forbearance, your being able to stay focused will increase. Sri Krishna is asking us, with a buddhi that is grahita, held and guided, rather, the buddhi, yes, that is well supported by the fortitude, atma samstam manakritva. So if you are more in devotion, just now we talked about Rama Bhakti, you may change this line. Rama samstam manakritva nakinchidapi. Fix your mind in Rama, time and again. As I often say, even if you have 2 minutes left for some engagement, use those 2 minutes. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. You are a Shiva Bhakta. Shiva samstam manakritva na kinchidapi. Devi samstam manakritva na kinchidapi. So Bhakti and Jnana, if you scratch the surface, are not different. They are so much similar. They do the same job in 2 different ways. So here, coming back to Jnana Yoga's Bhāshya, Atma Samstam Manakritva. Sri Shankaracharya says, Atma Samstam means Atmani Samstitam. That's all right. What does it mean? Atma eva sarvam na tataha anyat kinchidaspi. Atma alone is. There simply does not exist anything else. This is the height of Vedanta. In the Mandukya Karikas, this is brought forth most powerfully. As I have often quoted, one of the lines of Gaudapada is Etat tad uttamam satyam yatra kinchinna jayate. The highest truth is nothing happened ever, nothing is happening now, nothing will ever. A lot of people may have a lot of difficulty in accepting this. That is why Vedantis are criticized. You know, Vedanta is criticized as utterly impractical, unrealistic, and mere imagination, blah blah. Say all that. So they have not studied. See, even to get an opportunity to study Vedanta from competent teachers, Swami Chinmayananji, Swami Dayananji, Swami Paramathanand. So they are all very competent. So to study with them for a certain number of years is not everybody's cup of tea, it's not everybody's good fortune. A lot of so-called educated people, they are PhDs sometimes. They are professors in esteemed universities. But when you interact with them and then when you find some of their confusion about basic spirituality, you will be really, surprised. Oh my God. He is such a learned man, but he does not know what we mean by Atma. He has his own imagination, his own fancy. And such people are in large number, and the world also admires them. For them, it is either the essential food, clothes and shelter, or art and music and so many things of the world. So if you contribute in that domain, they are happy. If you say, I have now resigned my job, I am going to Japan, I will study Gita. Could you not find something better? So, spiritual ignorance. Dharacharya says, who understands, who does not is their problem. Atma eva sarvam. Natataha anyat kinchidas. There doesn't exist anything else at all. Iti evam atma samsamana kritva na kinchidas. You must say, and no repetition is enough. To arrive at that understanding, a lot of proper study is required. One should not just memorize the statement, Brahma alone is, nothing else is. If you simply memorize it and say it like a parrot says, you will not go so far in meditation. So what a powerful sentence. Now, Shankaracharya himself raises a question. Tatra evam atma samstam manakartum pravrattaha yogi. A yogi who is all set to fix his mind or her mind in the Atma, the question implied here is, what should he do? How should he get going? Therefore, he said, 26, Yato nischarati manaschanchala asthiram tatastato niyam yaitat atmanyeva vasham naye. Another practical advice. Sri Krishna says or seems to say, don't be worried about too much philosophy. Study philosophy, study the Shastras, but finally, more than having a lot of knowledge of which book, what says what, do you in day-to-day life, do you again and again withdraw your mind? Or after studying all the Gita, Upanishads, etc., you close the books, you come out of the satsang, and then with great excitement study the stocks and shares and this and that and so on. I'm not against stocks and shares. We are not against anything really. Everything has a place in life, but we are certainly against getting enslaved to anything. Swami Chinmayananji said, don't be enslaved by sense objects. He said to somebody who was smoking, you may smoke, but let the cigarette not smoke you out. Don't know what it means. Some strange English it is. But it conveys the message very well. You may smoke the cigarette, let not the cigarette smoke you out. You may drink, but let the alcohol not drink you. So Swamiji sometimes would not care. He would make some, though his English was so good, he was terrific. Some of us had to check dictionaries to know meaning of what he was saying. He used to pronounce some words deliberately in a little erroneous way. In San Jose, California, he gave a lecture and 4 or 5 times he said in that lecture. I was not there. I went to US after Swamiji's dropping the body. But my friends in US say, he said, environment, environment. So Uma Jayarasa Singham herself said to Secretary of San Jose Mission, very devoted, very softly and politely said to Puja Gurudev, it seems, Swamiji, today again in your lecture you said environment. It is environment. And Chinmayananji looked at her into the eyes of Uma. It is environment. It is environment only. Just humor, for fun of it. Meaning, I don't care. I am not here to teach English. I don't mind if some pronunciation here and there is wrong. So I will continue to say environment. That's what he meant. A little mischievous. So, read philosophy, but essentially what you need to do is bring your mind back. Manas chanchalam, it tends to be unsteady. You made it unsteady. You let it become unsteady. Like some parents pamper their children and then the children go berserk. The parents only made those children by providing everything to them before even they ask, or never teaching them, training them to exercise some control in their ways. Likewise, we ourselves would have made our mind so unsteady. Tatastato niyamya etat atmaniyeva vasha. Bring it back in the Atma. Fix it in the Atma. It's never too late. You might be old already. Who cares? Age is not an issue in spirituality. It is the quality of thoughts. Have a wonderful, beautiful spiritual thought. Don't think whether you are old or young. Stay in that loving thought. So these are simple spirituality. Anyone can do it, and we must do it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.